You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hello, once again, everyone. Thanks for listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. It's nice to see you guys again.
I know,
Welcome
it's been a
back.
long time.
We got a little treat here for any Big Brother watchers. At the end of this episode, everyone else that doesn't watch it can tune out, and I don't want to hear how you don't like it. Reality TV.
No one has ever complained, have they?
I'm just saying, at the end, I'm going to do a dive into what's going on in Big Brother for 10 or 15 minutes, and then maybe do it again in a couple weeks.
I think one of our most downloaded episodes was the celebrity Big Brother you did.
Wow.
That's true.
With everybody we knew. Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Wow.
That was a good app.
So if
That
you
was
haven't
good.
listened to
you
that,
guys
go back and
you
find
guys
it.
were such doubters, and I was like, no, let me work some of my magic. Okay, anyway, we're gonna do a dive at the end, so anybody that cares about that, just a little letting you know.
You know what would be cool is if you could time travel to the end and listen to that first. And then you could zap back to your own body now and listen to the rest of it now.
Whoa, that'd be weird. Speaking of time travel, great segue. We're gonna do one of those time warp sections here.
It's just a jump to the left. With your hands on your hips.
Where I'm going to talk about a book that I read that's about time travel, because I decided I really like time travel, and why not read a million books about them and see if anybody had great ideas. And Jordan, you've probably read some of this one. This is a collection of Alan Moore things. This is the complete Alan Moore Future Shocks. But oh wait, he's reaching behind him. Oh, he's got some. He's like, don't test me on having some Alan Moore. He has a copy of the same book. Look at that, folks. Cliff, where's your workbook?
It's book club night. We gotta.
Oh man.
Well, everyone,
I didn't do my homework.
Everyone, turn to page 308 to the Time Twisters section. Now, that's what I'm focusing on here. I in my research, I found where he had written a bunch of like 3 to 6 pagers, just very short time travel stories back in the day. And they're just so good. So good. I love them. So I'm just going to read out some of the titles and, give you a little brief description. The Reversible Man is one where it is told about a guy that he is traveling through his life backwards. Everything is happening to him backwards. It's like starts with him right when he died, and it is so funny. Just all the things he talks about, how this happens and this, just our kids started getting really annoying, so we took them back to the hospital. Anyway, then there's a few different ones. Some aliens come to Earth in the future and try to create a human zoo, from the recreate the humans, and that doesn't work so well, but it's funny. Chrono Cops is a great story that starts out a guy is trying to kill his own great grandfather, and these cops come in. They're very like Dragnet characters. They're like, why would you want to kill your own great grandfather? And by the end of the story, you can totally relate to why. It's excellent. I mean, and these are so. I'm amazed at how much is packed into just a few pages. That is a great story, and it's 5 pages. I'm not sure who draws all these. I don't pay enough attention to that, but it's, Dave Gibbons.
It's on the cover.
Dave Gibbons, yeah. Yeah, it's all the
Brian
all the
Talbot,
artists.
Alan Davis, Steve Dillon.
Then we got.
I mean, there's something to be said for, like, that helps hone a writer. Like, if you can tell a story in 5 pages, you can tell a story in 20 pages and 50 pages. Like, if you have to be good and smart and economical to tell something interesting that short. And if you have to crank those out once a month and have a brand new plot and a brand new idea and a fully fleshed out plot.
It's amazing. There's another one called The Time Machine, and it's about a guy that has worked on a time. He's like thinking about how he spent his whole life trying to create a time machine, and I can't spoil. I don't want to spoil. There's so many good twists in these, but that's another just like 6-pager that's great. Dr. Dibworthy's Disappointing Day. I mean, it's not like a lot of these are the most novel ideas. It's kind of like he just I don't know what, maybe he came up with them first and people stole from him, or vice versa. But they're just simple stories that he just perfected. He just does them so well. So it is Alan Moore's Time Twisters is really what we're getting at, but they're all collected in this book. There's another version that also all the Time Twisters are collected, but those are the ones I'm referring to.
So these were originally in 2000 AD, the anthology magazine in Britain.
Yeah.
So they weren't originally like as a graphic novel or whatever, obviously. Before he got big on V for Vendetta, Swamp Thing, Watchmen. So yeah, this is what he kind of cut his teeth on in Britain with rising talent of the era.
I will give you a tip. You can read all these online. Look up some of those titles and you can just read them online. So you don't have to go buy the book, but I highly recommend them. So
more pie charts.
Pie chart. He's previewing some
the sliver's getting smaller. They're pirating the books. Oh wait, this episode's going out first.
That's what I was saying. Time travel. So
timey-wimey.
Yeah, it's all timey-wimey. Let's do some TV.
What in the good Lord is going on?
Nothing. Them just some fellas I play car pranks with.
The worst thing about prison was the Dementors. Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die.
There are no strings on me.
So if you want to make more money and keep the money that you make, better call Saul.
He looks like a panda and a Disney princess had a baby.
Somebody royally forked up. Somebody forked up.
Randall! Okay, stay in your room!
First, I thought you and the others were gods. Then I realized you're just men. And I know men.
You guys, look at my dirty girl.
Roll on snare drum. Curtain. Good joke.
So, what have you guys been watching on TV?
Thanks to you, I've been watching Happy Days nonstop.
You've converted him.
I got news for you. I have a hot take.
Please.
And it's reversing your hot take.
You think the shark was the moment?
That did it.
You think?
We got to season 5. At the beginning of season 5 are the Hollywood eps, and that's when they go there and he jumps the shark. And I was like, okay, I'm watching. What happens? And I got news for you. It's all downhill from there. You're shaking your head like you know what I'm talking about.
Well, I did the same thing. I saw those episodes were on, and I've watched everyone since. I'm like, I gotta see what's going on. So the Cunninghams go to Hollywood. Bonds jumps the shark, and I thought surely there's still good episodes, but it's like I don't think they're terrible.
No.
Like the episodes a couple seasons from now are almost unwatchable.
Right.
These still have charm. They're still funny. Yeah, obviously, by the time Chachi showed up, things had already gone downhill.
Well, that's he shows up this season after they get back
so,
from Hollywood.
Yeah, so things were already on the downhill. But I don't think, Jump the Shark to me means it's garbage. It's not worth watching anymore. And I still think there are good episodes.
I think I get what you're saying, but the quality is definitely went down. There's way more singing.
I forgot how much they had Anson Williams sing on that show. As much as humanly possible, and I don't know why.
Every episode there is singing now, and it didn't used to be like I'm so sick of watching Richie pretend to play the saxophone. We have after the shark jump, Fonzie goes black t-shirt. He's got the black t-shirt under his jacket now. We had Pinky Tuscadero came for some demo derby. Then we had Leather Tuscadero.
Yeah.
And she's singing all the time. Every episode, there's at least one or two songs to start off the episode. Danny Thomas came as Mr. C's dad. And today, though, I'm several episodes behind. I have like 5 or 6 still recorded in the 5th season. But the episode I watched today was where, what the hell's the name of the dog? They've got a trained dog at Fonzie's dog.
Oh, Fonzie's dog?
Scruffy or
Spunky.
Spunky. This episode, Spunky was depressed, and they got Dr. Joyce Brothers to come psychoanalyze the dog.
Yeah, and
I was like, you cannot tell me that this is before Arnold's birthday.
This is also, they stopped even pretending it was the 50s with the fashion. Everyone had the wide collars. Everyone's hair's down over their ears.
Yeah.
Like, they're not even trying to make it look like the 1950s.
Yeah, Fonzie's hair is different in the 5th season. He has less sideburn and stuff, and it's just, it's not right. And I did notice something else, though. There's a lot of similarities to another show we watched. So, like... yeah, now Cliff's starting to catch on. It's like, I was looking at Arnold's, and I'm like, this reminds me of a certain chocolate shop. Another red-haired, lettered, high school jacket wearing guy.
He pretends to play the guitar.
Exactly. So I definitely was breaking that down. I decided that Ralph Mouth's dad, the optometrist, was as close as we were going to get to Dr. Curdle Jr.
Yeah. Speaking of, it's funny. I saw just today on Instagram. I think it was Vanessa Morgan had posted a picture of that she took outside of Pops, and it said, "Can't believe it's been 6 months since we filmed here," or something. So they're filming again. Yeah. So more of that show coming your way.
And it is supposed to be like a 7-year time jump.
I heard that. Yeah.
That sounds good.
Of course, I don't know what they're going to do. Vanessa Morgan is very pregnant right now.
Well, it doesn't take 7 years.
No.
I guess they could.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. And it's a rumor that has almost been confirmed that the new character, I believe Pop's granddaughter, will be a big part of season 5.
I was hoping to see his Mama.
Yeah. Mama Pop.
Yeah, whatever. What was the storyline? Or something we couldn't let her know something.
Yeah, he couldn't let her know that he sold the diner to
right
to the Ram.
Yeah. Oh. Anyway. Also, one other thing about Happy Days, there's so many characters that have played multiple roles on that show. Like Lori Beth was a different character that dated Ralph for a couple episodes and things like that. And then this one girl that Richie dated in the first season, he dated her twice in the first season as 2 different girls, and then dated her again in the 4th season. I think it's ridiculous how they keep using the same people.
And just, are there 2 less likable co-stars than Ralph and Potsy.
I love Ralph. He's hilarious. He's still got it.
He's still got it, I guess. But like, I get, Potsy's the butt of the joke. Everyone rags. Potsy has a crappy life, and everybody makes fun of it. But like, to me, they're just not appealing at all. They every time they walk in, I kind of roll my eyes like, oh,
yeah. It's so ridiculously man heavy. Like all the women are just like, obviously with the whole Fonzie character, all the women just coming when he snaps is not good for feminism. But best character on the show is Al Del Vecchio. Yep.
There was a solo Al plotline coming up. I don't think you got to it yet. If you just watched the Spunky.
I love the one where he just a few episodes ago where he was the informant and he was outside the window and they pulled the blind down and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. It's supposed to be a secret and he stands there and you just see the outline of his nose. So good.
So these are on MeTV every afternoon. The retro. Fun television if you want to watch Happy Days in order and judge for yourself where it hit the skids.
Yeah, I think we're definitely in Skidsville. What else you got?
If we're talking Riverdale, I wanted to talk about Yellowstone.
Oh, I'm going to break your heart and tell you I haven't watched like the last 7 episodes, but you can't hurt me.
Well, it was too normal. It wasn't our beloved Yellowdale.
Right.
This plot was too, it's a land deal. And it's okay, they're using guns and stuff. But like the last episode, boy, it makes up for the whole season's worth of normalcy.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So I won't explain why till you see it, but there are 2 things that tie directly to Riverdale in a beautiful way. I guess we'll talk about those later.
Okay. Well, I just needed to know whether I have to watch it or not. Like, I got like 6 episodes, I think, banked, and I was waiting to hear whether I need to dive into that or not. But if you say yes,
if you like it for the,
I like it for the craziness, Beth.
Yeah, the last episode is where that really kicks off.
Okay, I'll do it. Well, did everybody see the big thing? The big release that came out this couple weeks ago? We had the HBO Max show about the book, based on the book Lovecraft Country.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's back. Getting reacquainted with old friends.
Uncle George, the reason I'm back home, my father, he's gone missing.
1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm. H.P. Lovecraft.
Jonathan Majors.
Yes.
Journey Smollett.
Courtney B. Vance.
Yeah, Uncle George, Courtney B. Vance. So.
Yeah. That first episode, the first 2 minutes of the first episode, I was so like, I am as in as I can be. And that entire first episode, in fact, was just delicious.
Yeah. I was so tense. When they're doing those car chase scenes, I was just like, this is insane.
Incredibly tense second half of the episode. And the first half of the episode, the whole street, performance and things was just great, just beautiful. Yeah. Everything was amazing. I think everybody that main character, would you say Jonathan? What is his last name?
Majors. He plays Atticus.
Yeah, he was in that Spike Lee movie, The Five Bloods. He was really good in that. And gosh, I forget. He was in something else I saw recently that I thought he was good, but
he was in that When We Rise about the Central Park 5. He was one of those.
Okay. He's good, and everybody's good in it. Mm-hmm. Now, the second episode, which is all we've seen at this point, as of this recording, was a train wreck. It was a train wreck. It was as big as you could go from a perfect first episode to an incomprehensible,
it was hard.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Try to throw an entire season of television into one episode. Just too much, so that anything big that happened had no meaning. Gave you all. It was like 20 moments that would have been great in separate episodes just have no meaning.
Yeah.
I know I'm ruining how you would enjoy watching, but it's just like, but I was saying, other than just like all the dramatic moments have no punch because of how many there are. It literally was like an entire season in one episode.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, that episode 2, and I was just like, I mean, it was almost hard to follow at times, just because you couldn't get your mind from one thing to the other fast enough.
It just happened. Everything happened so fast. It's like, oh, you like this? You like this cool house? Oh, you like these characters? Oh, you're looking for this? Oh, this is the bad guy? Oh, it's all happening right now in this episode, and it's crazy. Anyway, I still have high hopes for the series.
Right.
I think this could just be one episode, but it was like it was a bad idea to do what they did, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I don't know where it's going to go next, but episode 3 we'll find out here in a couple days if it was just a big illusion and that episode 1 was as good as it was going to get. Or
my problem with that kind of stuff is when you have all these big things happen and they mean nothing, they feel like they mean nothing, then how can you earn me to care in the future? If something happens to anyone in the future, I'm going to be like, is it real? Does it matter? Is that what, because I love the first episode.
Yeah, so, I haven't seen the second one yet, but I saw it was called Whitey on the Moon.
Yeah.
And I know, did it use the poem?
I don't know. What is the poem? Or what is it a reference to?
It's Gil Scott-Heron, the guy who wrote The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. He wrote a spoken word poem called Whitey on the Moon. And I knew I'd heard that phrase before. I was like, where have I heard that? They played it in the movie First Man. Leon Bridges did a version of it, talking about, they did a montage of like the NASA building the rockets and stuff, and they played this spoken word poem, Whitey on the Moon. Like, my sister got bit by a rat today, but Whitey's on the moon. She's all swollen, can't afford a doctor, but Whitey's on the moon. So like, it's sort of, did they use that?
That makes sense. I don't remember them saying that stuff, but they totally could have. But it makes sense with that type of show.
I'm thinking it's in there because as soon as you said that rang a bell.
A rat done bit my sister now with Whitey on the moon. Her face and arms begin to swell, and Whitey's on the moon. I can't pay no doctor bills, but Whitey's on the moon. 10 years from now, I'll be paying still while Whitey's on the moon. You know, the man just upped my rent last night, and Whitey's on the moon. No hot water, no toilets, no lights, but Whitey's on the moon. I wonder why he's upping me, because Whitey's on the moon. But I was already giving him like 50 a week, and Whitey's on the moon. Tax is taking my whole damn check. The junk is making me a nervous wreck. The price of food is going up. And if all that crap wasn't enough, a rat done bit my sister Nell with Whitey on the moon. Her face and arms begin to swell, and Whitey's on the moon. It was all that money I made last year for Whitey on the moon.
Yeah, this show is like, I thought it did such a good job in the first episode, and especially the fact, like, because they're mixing this extreme racism that was the real in this time Jim Crow era, but mixing it with Lovecraftian monsters, Cthulhu and everything, and the balance of these racists have to be more dangerous and scary than the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the balance you have to have, and I think they're doing a good job with it.
And it works that, you know, Lovecraft is famously, in his letters and writings, did not hold very progressive views and was super racist. So to use his own mythology to kind of tell that kind of story. But to me, I don't know that the first episode was that balance where, like, you know, the first, you know, the plot is, you know, young man coming back from the Korean War, you know, the first scene, him on the bus, and the ladies like talk about the Confederacy, and they're not heroes. And it's like, you're kind of like pounding us over the head with it, where the later scene where the cop is, you know, standing at their window, and it's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's telling, that's showing, not telling. That is, you know, showing the peril they would feel at that time in that place, where, like, at the first half hour just felt like, boy, things are really racist right now. So I don't know. They laid it on a little too thick at the beginning, where I knew that's what the themes were going to be throughout.
Yeah.
I don't know what it didn't seem to quite have it calibrated right from the beginning. So that worries me that the second one's a letdown.
I do think that second episode even feels more like, okay, everybody's a racist. You know, that's kind of rough. But I did like, you know, the part in that first episode where because you could tell the kid is like a fan, just like Courtney B. Vance's character is a fan of Lovecraft, but they point out, you know, about him being racist and saying, you know, you can love the art and hate the artist if you know, you can. This might be a good segue to, you can love the way someone announces a baseball game, maybe. But hate them.
Yeah, that's a pretty perfect segue.
Yeah.
I did want to say one more thing of, like, you just reminded me, like, that is such, I don't know that I've ever seen that in pop culture, the black nerd experience.
Yeah.
Like, there is such a subculture, a thriving culture of comic fans and sci-fi fans and fantasy fans who are black and have read and watched and seen things their whole lives that didn't quite represent them, but they still love the art.
Right.
And you go to any Comic-Con and you see, you know, that there'll be a black creator with a book they made, and every person, you know, every black person who comes through, like, goes and talks to them, like, hey, and it's like there's a bond there of that black experience through a subculture that's kind of ignored them their whole lives and not catered to them and not had characters that represent them. So this is an interesting take on kind of the OG, you know, original fandom of, you know, these pulp novels and things. So I that's an interesting world to look at through that lens. Yeah, for sure.
So why don't you lay out what happened here with this sports announcer?
I don't love this sports announcer. Let's start with
me
that.
So this didn't hurt me too bad.
No, me neither. I'm a huge Cincinnati Reds fan. All right, you might know that about me. And I was watching a game, and then on Twitter it starts coming out that Reds TV announcer Tom Brenneman, did he just say what we think he said? So I missed it. It wasn't on the TV feed I was watching. It just went out if you were watching, like, MLB TV. So the audio is online. It's easy to find, of him saying something bad, homophobic slur, and it wasn't just a slip. It wasn't, no. I meant to say this and I said that, and it also wasn't a joke. He wasn't, people said, I think he was quoting Blazing Saddles. No, he was not. The way he said it, like, he put oomph on the word. Like, he said it a lot, or he meant it, or I don't know, but there's just he put extra.
That's exactly how I would describe what you said. He meant it. He said it like he meant it. Yeah. That's what is going to kill him on it.
So it was a double header. It was like the 6th inning, I think, of the first game, and games are 7 innings long this year, double headers. So between games, this blows up. The audio's all over Twitter. People are hashtagging stuff. So the second game starts, and he's calling it. So I listened to a game live of a guy learning his fate, basically.
Yeah.
In real time. And, like, the innings were pretty quiet, and he was just, that's a 2-2 count. And, like, they weren't going back and forth and talking. I was like, this was, like, you could just hear him scrolling through his phone and, you know, checking his mentions and stuff. So it was just a really bizarre atmosphere to listen to.
I tuned in for a short period after I'd found out about it, and he was talking about Trevor Bauer and kind of like judging Trevor Bauer. I was like, dude, you don't need to be judging anybody right now.
So the 5th inning starts, camera, boom, right on him. He makes a strange apology. Again, that video is out there too.
Amazing. Iconic video, because the odds of what happening is unbelievable.
So
what was happening during the game,
Right.
Yeah, so the inning had started, and he says, you know, something happened and I apologize. It was a mistake, and I apologize to the people who write my checks.
Right, which is gross.
Which is a weird, but if you know Tom, like, that makes sense. Like, the way he says things like that, he says stuff in that vein. I don't know. It's a personality thing with him.
Yeah.
And then someone launches a home run, and he calls the home run. So my deepest condolences, as there's a long drive into left field from Castellanos, and that's a 2-run homer, and the Reds are now tied 4-4. And I want to put out there, like, he called the home run during an apology.
I know you shared that meme, which was just perfection, of the guy walking with the girl, and he looks over his shoulder at the other girl. It's like, Tom Brenneman, the girl he's with is an apology, and the girl he looks back at is a home run by Castellanos. Unbelievable.
So Marty Brenneman is his father,
right,
who has called Reds radio since before the Big Red Machine. So literally my entire life.
Yeah.
I've listened, you know, before cable and when every game was on TV, I listened to the radio constantly. I've probably heard Marty Brenneman's voice more than anyone else, any other human in my lifetime. So Marty is an old crank, and he gets in trouble sometimes and says things he shouldn't, but we all love him because he's grandpa. He's cranky grandpa. His son is Tom Brenneman, who came back to, he called for the Cubs for a while, the Diamondbacks. So he finally comes home to Cincinnati, and he's on the TV side of things. And he's just never quite been the fan favorite Marty was. And there's a pretty vocal contingent that just didn't like him. And part of it was he's not the best game caller, and part of it is he has kind of a smug attitude. He complains about the players a lot, and nobody does things the right way anymore, and all these new advanced stats are junk, and nobody should listen to the WAR and you know, all these new statistics. Nobody plays the game the right way anymore, and there's all this coded language of, you know, old-timey baseball, or it might just be it might just be things were better back then, or it might be, you know, things are being ruined by certain people. We don't know exactly.
We need to make baseball great again.
Yeah, and I would never judge someone just that from their fandom like that. But
right.
I listened to enough of him, I could tell his personality, and it just, the longer I listened to him, the more it grated on me. So when this happened, people were dancing on his grave immediately. Like, oh, Tom's gone. We'll never have to listen to him again. So, and then there are also people who love him and think he's great at what he does, and he should just say sorry and we'll forgive him. So this just segued directly. You know, we've had the DNC, the Democratic Convention, the Republican Convention these weeks, and I heard the word cancel culture thrown around so much these last couple weeks, and what this means. And it's been such a hot button topic, and I don't know. I understand the idea of it, and people are saying, you know, if Tom genuinely apologizes and reaches out to the people who he offended and learns and grows, why can't we give him a second chance? And then there's people like, you don't deserve a prestigious, high-paying game in job in pro sports, and you blew it.
Right.
Go get a job at a grocery store or something. Like, so I'm torn.
There are people out there that would
spectrum.
never do that.
And I'm thinking, I tried to figure out how many hours have we spent behind microphones. We've done 230 episodes plus 20 of the So Pros. We've all guest starred on other people's podcasts, and like, congrats to the three of us for never using a slur. We did it, guys. Like, it's not hard. It's really not hard.
Yeah, no.
So I don't know. I'm and you hate that there's degrees to it, because I said Marty has said stuff before, like this wasn't that long ago. He said like something about Trail of Tears, like the bullpen was getting blown up, and like the pitching coach had to come out. I was like, well, he's walking that Trail of Tears again to go get the pitcher. And we're like, that's kind of offensive, Marty. Yeah, the Trail of Tears was a national tragedy, and like he apologized. And it's like, okay, but he didn't mean it.
Right.
He just said it and was not thoughtful.
Right.
Like this other thing, he said it.
Yeah.
And it got said and it got heard. Yeah. So there is a scale to it. I don't. You can't say cancel culture is bad. But like you said, we said talked to the She-Ra creator, just got into trouble for saying something really stupid. Now, was it stupid? Yes. Does she deserve to get fired? I don't think so. So I don't know where I stand on all this.
Yeah. Yeah, that had just came out, and it was on a live panel they had done, and apparently my understanding, she was referencing some joke they had made previously, the writer's room. So it was a known thing that came out that had went through there. And that's a show that, I made the mistake of, praising it for its diversity, because it had tons of LBGTQA yeah, whatever's at the end now. I can't keep up. But all the references and changes they had made to those characters. And I really enjoyed that show, to the point where the longer it went on, the more I watched, the better I liked it. But as that came out and I was kind of looking into it, I noticed several people had made references in the past when the show was in production, because they were kind of bragging about how diversified their cast was, or their writers' room was, when in fact, it was 90% women, but they were 90% white women. There was, as far as people of color, it didn't exist in that room. So I don't know.
Anyway,
it all seems tied also into, what is going on social media and things, where like a Reddit subgroup gets banned or a Twitter user gets banned, and it's like, oh, it's just cancel culture. But it's like, if you're spreading like demonstrably false information or hurtful things or hateful things, like, yes, you're getting canceled. There are rules to behaving on social media. And then it gets tied into censorship and free speech and all this stuff. So I don't... The idea of being canceled to me is different from that. And it all seems to be tied up into the same verbiage. I don't know. I don't know. We're not making good arguments back and forth, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's every case is different. I think you just kind of have to judge for yourself. There's not much you can do about it. Society is going to decide how bad it is, and some people can can come back unscathed, and some can't. But
yeah, and part of this, of course, being with social media, the people often confuse. I'm using a platform, yes, but it's a company that has rules, a company that has set forth, you have agreed to
Yeah, they think it's their free speech. I can say whatever I want. Yeah, but you have to follow the rules of the platform you're using.
Right. If you want to go stand in your front yard and say that stuff, hey, more power to you. Your neighbors aren't going to like you very much, but that's different than, something you've agreed to abide by the rules set forth by the company. So
anyway,
but it all ties back to television. I've had this in my notes I watched this way back during quarantine, but the final season of Brockmire aired on IFC. And when this happened, I saw so many references to Brockmire. This is the Hank Azaria show about the baseball announcer. It ran for 4 seasons on IFC. It's now on Hulu, so more people might see it, hopefully. Always critically beloved, no ratings whatsoever, but I adore this show. It was a Funny or Die short about Hank Azaria using that old-timey baseball call and saying everything in that tone. And the Funny or Die thing is him talking about his wife cheating on him while calling an inning. So they basically expanded that into the show, and the pilot episode has it is a tour de force acting scene of Brockmire getting drunk throughout a baseball game and talking about his cheating wife and telling the story of catching his wife cheating on him while calling a baseball game. And it is an amazing piece of acting, and it's that exact thing. It is surprise. You can imagine my surprise when I open the door 2-2 low outside and I see my wife at a pose I can only describe as, oh, that one's inside. He's run the count full. And it is wonderful. And I never thought I'd see it in real life.
Right.
It happened in real life. So if you like baseball, it's very dirty. The humor is very, very dirty language.
Tom Brenneman.
Baseball, you don't have to like baseball. Yeah, he probably uses the word Tom used to get fired. I'm guessing it appears on that show at some point. You don't have to like baseball to watch it, but it's a bonus because there are really good jokes about Bob Costas and Joe Buck and George Brett. How George Brett looks like Crocodile Dundee made me laugh so hard. I don't know why the thought of how much George Brett looks like Crocodile Dundee made me laugh, but it's a wonderful show. And the last season is set in the future.
Oh.
It jumps ahead in time, and it's talking about riots in the Southwest and food shortages and a pandemic, and it's creepy how they kind of called our American future. So
try and be Felicity.
Brockmire is terrific. That's the last time I'll mention it.
We'll see about that. Well, last thing before we hit the big brother, I was gonna mention again, the answer to this riddle is 29 days. The question is, how many days did I have a bug killing salt gun before Nick and I shot ourselves with it?
Wait, shot each other or shot yourself?
Who shot first?
I did, but I shot myself. I pulled it out to shoot him, and he was like, no, you first. It was like, hey, you knew it was coming. We had to know how much this hurt. So I was like, fine, I'll shoot myself, and I walked over to the trash can because it shoots salt.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, no sense getting salt everywhere, just shoot myself. So I walk over and I held it about 6 inches from my hand and shot myself. And it hurt like a son of a bitch. I had a red mark on my hand. Pretty good. Nice little welt.
It didn't break the skin, though.
No.
Okay.
Is that where the term salt in the wound comes from?
Right.
Yeah. But I did good because I shot myself and I didn't flinch. And I said, here you go, wuss. Now shoot yourself. He didn't hold it quite as close as I did. But he was like, you didn't tell me about it. I was like, I know. But it was nice. It hurts. It's
now
like,
you know how those poor bugs feel.
Well, that's why they die when they get shot. But I told him it was because I put that high performance salt in it. Definitely. Anyway, I just wanted to point out, I didn't want that stupidity to go by. I want to know that if you buy a assault gun for shooting bugs, there's a certain amount. You have to know how many days it's going to be before you can't stand anymore and have to shoot yourself with it. There is a number out there. Okay. Time to talk some Big Brother. So anybody that wants to just mosey on out of here, go ahead.
Although I don't know why you would.
I don't exactly. This is recorded one day after the third eviction. So this is after the great Janelle was evicted yesterday. So we are going to talk about the state of the game right now and who the players are or whatever. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm going to share the screen here. I'm sure I'll get some sarcastic remarks about this or whatever. But anyway, here we go. Let's see if we can.
I haven't gone back and watched anything since that pilot episode. I watched a few minutes of that, but I haven't watched anything since.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
And I can see you, but you're covering up some of the people. Maybe, am I going to be able to move this? I can. Okay. Let's see here. So I'll start in the top left corner here. We have Christmas is her name. She was on season 19. She is the reason she's on. This is an all-star season. So these are all people that have played before, that some are fan favorites, some are great players, some are just icons of the game. But the Christmas is on here because she has the most Instagram followers. That they would never say that, but I guarantee that's why she made it on here. She was an alternate, I believe, but she is a fitness girl, whatever. And she was on. She's really good at the challenges. She claims to be, but she broke her leg in season 19. And ended up making it to the final 3 because she just got drug along and was basically just did everything the main guy told her to do.
Broke her leg in the house?
Yes. She got on this guy. This one guy was a rodeo clown named Whistle Nut. And he got up and she got up on his back and they did one of those save a horse, ride a cowboy type. Ha ha, this is funny. And he fell down and she landed on her leg. So she actually had surgery and came back in the house and went to the end of the game. But she's playing fairly well this time. She's, got a few good alliances going on, and I don't feel like she's somebody that could win because she just doesn't have that type of personality, but she's somebody that could make it far. Anyway, David was from the previous season, season 21. And he was last season was unfortunate. Anyway, he went out in like the first episode. He then they kept him in the house after he got evicted the first episode, and he had to live there with just a chance of getting back in the game, which he never did. And the alliance was a bunch of pains in the neck, a bunch of bros, and they said anybody not in the game shouldn't even be able to talk. And it was a very bullying situation. And so I think the producers felt like they needed to give this guy a second chance. And the only problem is he's terrible. He's really not good at all at this game. You can tell he's a rookie. Then we have Tyler, who is the best player in the house. He made it to the final 2 in season 20. Just a master at communicating with people. He has just natural charisma. Everybody wants to. This is one of those things where just everybody likes you. They cannot help it. People come into the house not having a target on him, but then they talk to him and just like, I just like him so much. Just like you hear about people like that. I'm not one. But it's just like he just has a natural charisma. He's very likable and he's really smart. And so he's had some adversity this game already because of people knowing how well he did that season. So I don't expect him. If he makes it to the end, he deserves it because they know how good he is this year. Memphis was there's a lot of Robins in this house and not enough Batman. Tyler would be a Batman. Memphis is a Robin to Dan, who won season 10. and Memphis was on there with him. They were the hitmen, made it to the end. But Memphis is just like a grumpy old man this time. He acts way older than he actually is. He just they portray him on the show as being the leader of some big alliance, and I think it's just because it's too hard for Julie Chen to explain what's really happening in the house, and he really just doesn't talk to almost anybody. He just is. He says he's waiting until halfway through the game to start playing. Davon was in season 17 and 18. She's a fan favorite because she kind of says how it is, and people like to see people of color actually get a chance to play on this show that often looks like a paint swatch for your living room. But her problem is she doesn't know what's going on. She's not part of the big alliance, and she keeps trying to get people to give her information by tricking them and telling them something, and then she sees if the info comes back to her, and she's going to get herself in trouble because people are getting on to her about it. Enzo was in season 12. He was part of one of the most famous alliances, the Brigade, where him and 3 other guys started this alliance called the Brigade, and they each got a satellite alliance, somebody in a pair with them, and they used them to get information until the end of the show and slowly knocked off each other's partner, and they made it. They were the final 4. Only he was one of I think he was maybe the third to last one out. And so he's he's good TV. He's funny as heck. Yeah, they showed him the other day using a bidet for the first time. They have one in there, and he just he is very just give me some chicken parm type guy, and but he's super funny, and he could win because he's so likable, but he's going to need a lot of help to get to the end of the game. But he's doing the same basic thing again. They basically have a brigade again of him and Tyler and Cody and Danielle, and that they're just doing the same thing. Nobody seems to know that. Bailey was in the season with Tyler in 20, and he backstabbed her twice. And supposedly they have an alliance this game, but I don't know how she could trust him because he just lied to her and she believed him, and he lied to her again and she believed him, and he just kept backstabbing her. But I could see her falling for it again. He's that good. Danny was in season 8 with her father. Evil Dick is a famous player. He won that season. She was in the final 2 with him. She was probably the youngest player to ever play, age 18, I think she was. And she ended up coming back in season 13 and playing. She plays really hard. Used to be really good at competitions, won a couple of head of households that year also, and then got voted out just because she would not go along with the people that were running things. Met her husband on that season. Kevin's from season 11, and he was, good that season. It's one of the least popular seasons, but he did a good job. But he is his worst enemy on this season. He does not know what's going on, and I don't know. I think he's in better shape. He could win some competitions. He could also get drugged to the end if he gets with the right people. If he stays in the house another week or 2, he'll probably make it to the end because he is not a threat. Kaser he was on season 6 and season 7 with Janelle. They're 2 of the most famous Big Brother players ever. But he plays way too hard. At least he did back in the day. He never makes it to the jury phase of the game. He always gets taken out because he's such a big target. He always goes after the main people. But he's come back. He's turned 40 in the house this time. He's so smart and philosophical, and it is the kind of talks you want to see when you're watching these people in the live feeds. A lot of people talk about stupid stuff, but he's talking about philosophical things and trying to help Ian with his. Both of them are on the spectrum, and he kind of gives him some advice and things. Sometimes it's a little out there, but he's just a great guy, and I wish he could stay. There's a problem though that I'll explain a little bit why he probably won't stay. Keisha was the first one out. She's from season 10 also with Memphis, and she's had one of the most famous moments in the game was Keisha's birthday, and they mentioned it on this season, but the game's so much faster than it was when she used to play, and she didn't even know what was happening. Next thing you know, she's out. Ian won season 14. He went up against the Dan that was Memphis's partner in 10. Dan came back for season 14, and Ian beat him in the final 2. Just by giving a great speech, and he won out on competitions. He's a super smart guy, but he does not. I think he's not doing much. He's just kind of paired up with Nicole, and he's trying to make it halfway through the game and win out in competitions. And I think the competitions have changed too much for him to win out. They're very towards the end of the game, they get pretty athletic. Nicole Anthony went out last week. She played BB21, and it was too soon for her to come back. And this game is tough on your brain, and her brain broke this time. Janelle and Kaser tried to help her out, and she turned on them because she thought they were using her, and they weren't. And she's definitely regretting it now because she's out of the house. Cody was the Robin to Derek's Batman in season 16. Derek's one of the greatest players of the game. And Cody's really good, very charismatic. He makes a lot of friends. He is in the best position in the house, I think. He just, everybody likes Cody. But they also know he's up there in the pecking order. So, I don't know whether they'll get wise to him or not. Nicole F won season 18. She played 16 and 18. She is a villain that won't admit it. She whines her way and cries through everything, and I think she's great at it, but she's not willing to admit that she's a villain. If she did, she'd get a lot more love from fans. Janelle is the queen of Big Brother, and sadly she went last night just because the main reason she went, and the reason Kaser is going to go probably this week if he doesn't win veto, is because they're afraid of them coming back in the house, and it's not going to happen because of COVID, but they don't know that. And so they think she went out. If they leave Kaser in and she comes back, then they're both still in the house. So he's probably going to leave right behind her. And that's too bad, because I think I would like to see him play without her. He never has. She always has made it further than him. And then we have a casual fan, Julie Chen, who people leave the house and she tries to tell them what's going on, and she has no idea what's going on because she barely watches, and it's pretty sad. So after yesterday's episode, they had a head of household competition to see who would be up. And it was in the last final minutes of the show, Kaser, they were doing the kind of competition I like, where it is entirely fair. Anybody could win. That's all I ask. Sometimes they lean too much towards the men. It's something heavy or something like that. But this was just roll a ball up a ramp, roll 3 balls up a ramp, and there's 3 divots at the top, and you got to get the balls to settle. You can only throw them so hard. They have to settle in those divots, and then they're going to roll down the other side, and you run the other side and try to get them up to get all 3 balls in the top. Kaser did it like immediately within his first couple tries, and you could see it in the background. And he told Ian, which Ian respected, he said, I used math. He took all 3 balls and rolled them at once, so they only had so much room at the top. Something was going to go into the divot, and he just did it immediately, and then was like prowling around the backyard waiting for everybody else to finish to go into the next round. I mean, it just reminded me of Darth Maul after he killed Qui-Gon Jinn, just prowling back and forth waiting to kill the next person. It was great. It's great. I was so excited. The show ended. I thought maybe Kaser's going to win. He did not. Enzo ended up winning. I don't know whether he nominated these 2, but I predict he nominates these 2. He doesn't. He wants to get rid of Kaser. Everybody else wants to get rid of Kaser, so I definitely think he'll nominate him, and he doesn't get along that well with Kevin. So I think those will be the nominees, and if one of them comes off, he'll probably try to backdoor Ian. But one thing I was going to say, I don't like in that episode last night, Danny and Enzo vote. Everybody else voted to evict Janelle. Danny and Enzo voted. They did not know that each of them were going to do this, but they each voted to evict the other person. I'm blanking on who. Oh, Kaser. They voted to evict Kaser instead of Janelle, to like throw hinky votes out there and, just to blame it on somebody else. And they're trying to blame Bay and Day. This is Danny's idea. They're each doing it separately though, but Danny tried to get Cody to do it, and everybody's going to figure out she did this, but she's trying to it's not a good look for a woman to try to frame two women of color for doing something they didn't do. It's a really bad look, and I hope she gets caught on it. And I also hope that the next few weeks aren't just people of color leaving bang, bang, bang. But anyway, that's my update as of this moment. One other thing I was going to say that I do is because I watch the live feeds and everything and listen to other podcasts about it and stuff, but there's a reality stock watch at realitystockwatch.com that you can bet on these players. It's not real money, but you are given $200 and you buy stock in the players each week, and 5,000 people are playing it right now. I'm in 600th place, I think, but I think some top person has $450 and I've got around 400. But it's so fun if you watch the show enough to be able to buy stock. I think the first week I split my money between Bay and Enzo because they were the least targeted, and then the next week I went all in on Christmas, and this week I think I went all on, who did I pick? I'm looking here. I think I went all on Cody. Just try to pick the safest person that'll make me the most money. But it's fun, realitystockwatch.com. And you can just play it on your phone. And do you have any questions?
I do, actually. I don't know if you can answer this or not. It's more a long-term question.
Okay.
I was thinking about this and the idea of alliances.
Yes.
When did that start?
Richard
because
Hatch.
that's I'm guessing it was was it the first season of Survivor?
Yes.
Because that's not a thing inherent in a game.
No.
The people playing the game had to invent it, but now it's become every reality show ever made now has alliances. And the most important thing is forming alliances and changing alliances and tweaking alliances. And it's that had to have been invented on the the people who play on Survivor didn't plan out, okay, then they'll form alliances and do this. So
no, that definitely was not in the intention, but it was figured out the first season of Survivor. They created alliances. Just naturally happened.
And it's only just evolved. I don't know. That says something about human evolution and the need to form bonds and protect each other and civilization. I don't know.
It's pretty neat. They can't even explain it on the show. It's impossible to explain all the alliances on there. So they really focus on one or two things. They've got this alliance with Memphis that Julie focuses on, and when he gets sent out sometime soon, they'll act on the show they got rid of the king, but it's really not how it's happening. So you really just get bullet points on the show. They do get some things across pretty good. But the whole thing with there's such a web of alliances in here, and Tyler and Cody just are so good at it, at having so many people. The problem is there's a couple things. One, people walk around when they're on the block and think, how many votes do I need? Okay, there's let's say there's 11 people voting. I need 6 votes to be able to stay. I need, so they go around trying to get 6 votes. Well, you might as well forget it. That's not how it works. Most people are going to, the house is going to vote together. So you better convince your worst enemy. Otherwise, you're not staying. And then the other thing is that people secretly have people Tyler is smart. He's got a secret alliance with Bay. He's got a secret alliance with Christmas, who is probably his biggest alliance. He's got a secret alliance with David. he's got final twos with everybody. If they ever talk, he's screwed. But they all want to keep it a secret themselves. And so then he's also in the big alliance. So when people say, when the fans always scream, why don't all the nerds or the underdogs get together and try to overthrow? If they all get together, they'd have more votes and get rid of the things. Well, that's what Janelle tried to do. Janelle and Kaser tried to get all these people, Nicole Anthony and everybody. But the problem is, then you get somebody like Christmas in the room. She runs back and tells Tyler, and the plan ain't happening, because that's why they have these satellite alliances.
So it's society. The nerds are never gonna win.
Nope.
You can try as you might, but the jocks are gonna take care of it. Yeah, like, is there a different way to play the game? It's like I said, from the first season of Survivor, everyone has played games the same way.
Yeah. And
it's like, is that the only way to do it?
Well,
the only thing that works.
There are some things that other shows do. Honestly, the challenge on MTV is the one that comes up with some great ideas. And Davon and Bailey have both played on the challenge. Josh, who won season 19, plays on the challenge. Casey, who won Tyler's season, was his partner. She plays on the challenge. She'll play it again. So a lot of these Big Brother players go there. But there's something they did last season that I'd like to see them try in a season of Big Brother, is that because each week the head of household puts 2 people on the block, and then one of them goes home. In the challenge, you had to touch the block. If you didn't touch the block at a certain point of the game, you were going to be out. If you didn't, so you have to. I would like to see them say at some point you have to get nominated. There's a lot of strategy that can be involved with that. You can try, maybe you have your friend nominate you if you know you've got the votes to stay, but they may use that time to get rid of you. It's just be a different way, add some wrinkles to the game. There's different things they can do like that. My biggest thing is this. I mean, it's not a fair game. Survivor's not a fair game. Most of these games are not fair. There's pre-game alliances and things like that, especially when you have an all-star season like this and there's social media involved and people have played before. Danny and Janelle had an alliance, and Danny's the one that immediately was like, I got to get Janelle out. But Janelle won season. Well, she never won a season, but she was at the finale of season 7, the first All-Stars. She wore this one dress. Danny bought that dress and wore it to her finale the next season. She's a super fan of her. But she wants to be the queen, and they did a good segment on the show about that and showing her wanting to dethrone her. And I thought that was kind of neat. But it's just like there's a lot. It's never going to be fair, but I just want it to be as fair as it can be. And a lot of the competitions this year, I thought some of them haven't been. They had them holding a heavy ball and a paddle that you knew a guy was going to win, but most of them have been fair so far. So that's all I want. So I was thinking, depending how things go, if there's some changing up in the next couple of weeks, maybe the next time we record, I'll give another update.
I'm sure there are 2 to 3 people who are really invested. That depends on whether Teasley is still listening.
Yeah.
We hope, Jason, you're still out there listening to KPP, if for nothing else, for the Big Brother information.
It's kind of scary that I can remember who all was on every season. Did what?
I was wondering about that. I was like, do you have this written down?
No, I do not have this written down. I just know all this. I'm a super fan of this.
Now, this square says casual fan. Your face should be, and the other square says
yes.
Super.
I am a super fan of Big Brother. I know all about it. So, and the freaking live feeds, like, if you are a fan, more than a casual fan, or want to see more than what's on the show, it's CBS All Access is $5.99 a month. And honestly, the first month is really the best time to watch because there's the most people in the house, most things going on. You can just get on your phone and see what's happening, listen to a conversation and see, oh my gosh, I didn't see that on the show. There's just watching the adorable conversations between Janelle and Kaser reminiscing, or talking trash about somebody, or just watching the other night in real time. They showed it on the show last night, but when David almost blew up Tyler's game, he's that bad, and Tyler having to fix it. But, everything watching him work his magic is amazing. So $5.99 is a great price for that. That's all I got, guys.
All right, good stuff. Plenty of TV to keep us interested. Plenty of fun stuff. Always coming at you from KPP. We will be back soon with more. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
I'm Seth. Bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the pop cultured podcast, @gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udownwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free, so please continue to like, comment, and share.